gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, and welcome. Want to welcome you guys to our National Poetry Awareness Celebration. We are going to be sharing some amazing poets that have decided to allow their words to speak, and they are doing it through poetry. I have an amazing guest today. She's going to be sharing a little bit about who she is, why she's decided to get into poetry, and then she may bless us with a piece. So I want you guys to take an opportunity to sit back, grab your beverage, and get comfortable because you're in for a treat. Gonna bring up our special guest, Miss Tammy Thomas.
Hello.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you
How
so
are
much.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed. I can't complain. You
Amen.
know, I just can't complain. God is good. I woke up on this side, and anytime I can
That's
wake
right.
up on this side, it is truly a blessing. And then I get another opportunity to utilize those gifts and those talents that He's placed within me,
That's right.
to work
That's
together for
right.
my good, but for His glory. So I'm always excited to be in the midst. But
Amen.
today, it's about you. It's about you sharing a little bit about who you are, in this journey as a poet, why you chose poetry. So if you would just introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are.
Okay. I am Tammy Thomas. I am the creative coach of Tears to Purpose Monologue Ministry. I am a poet and author. I write skits, poems, uh, many plays, and monologues. Oh, and I'm also an actor. I had to put that in there too. It's new.
Amen. Amen. Definitely gifted and talented. An opportunity to definitely use words. Um,
Yes.
so on this journey, what made you decide to get into poetry?
Well, I started getting into poetry when I was about 14 years old. And at that time, I didn't know what poetry was. All I know, I was rhyming words. I was putting words and just, writing down my deep thoughts. During those times when you're a teenager, you have, peer pressure here and family over here trying to, make sure you stay on the right path and everything just clash together. So when I feel depressed or happy, poetry was it. I would write down my thoughts in my journal, and I'm like, blown away on how I did it. At the time, like I said, I didn't know it was poetry until I got older, and I'm like,
Wow.
oh, that's what it was. That's what I was doing.
Wow. Well, definitely, you are utilizing your gifts and your talents through poetry. So, what are some things that you like to write about?
Most things I like to write about just happy things and um, overcoming your chaos. I like to call it being the victor and giving God the victory. Amen.
Amen. I tell you, he said we overcome by sharing our testimony. A lot of people
That's right.
sit down on their testimony. But I tell people, you don't have to get up and stand before people to tell your testimony. You can share
Right.
your testimony in books. You can share it in magazine articles. You can share it because there's an audience forward
Mhm.
in,
That's
in
right.
whichever route you go. Um, so definitely poetry. I didn't know I was a poet. I tell you, that was just something that just happened upon me.
Right.
um, it just happened upon me. I didn't seek it out. I didn't explore it. Never even crossed my mind, but
Right.
it found me, and I'm blessed, and I'm just grateful to be able to use those gifts and those talents. So if you would, I would love for you to share a point in your life where poetry really played a important role. For me, I can tell you, for me, it was during a time when I was going through depression.
Mhm. Well, for me, it's same thing, depression. And when I got older, when I got sick in around 2012 and 2013, I got sick and I couldn't work anymore. I was on oxygen therapy, and I had two blood clots within a year's time, and I couldn't work anymore. And I was so devastated because I graduated from college, got my associate degree in medical assistance, and I was going to get a job, you know, in my during my career, but that didn't happen. And I always loved, helping people. So God gave me a different way of helping people when I was sick. Started writing. And sometimes your best writing is when you are depressed, for me. And it took off from there.
I tell you, writing has definitely been an outlet to help me release some of the things that has tried to come upon me. Depression being
Hmm.
one of those things, because I truly didn't know that I was battling depression. Depression just it showed up again when I went through domestic violence, not knowing that I had been struggling with it since I was 16 years old.
Wow.
Never really grieving the loss of my mom,
Hmm.
and just a lot of stuff that happened back to back, back to back, back to back. We get told that we have to be strong, and that we have to
Hmm.
pray and these different things, and we
Right.
think that these mood swings and these short tempers and these different things are just part of the process when it can be dealt
Hmm.
with. I truly learned during domestic violence, going through domestic violence, that I was dealing with some issues that were from my childhood that I had to deal with. So at that time, I was challenged by one of my therapists. I was actually seeing a psychiatrist and two therapists during that time. And one of my therapists, she challenged me to write. She challenged me to put those things down, those thoughts down on paper.
Hmm.
And I tell you, being able to write and release some of those things was the most powerful thing that I was able to do, because I was able to write down things that sometimes I wasn't able to tell somebody, you know?
Right.
So
Hmm.
it definitely has been a way for me to release
Amen.
and to let those things, come off of me. Even if I
Right.
threw it away, I had an opportunity to let it go. As people would say, let it go. So I had that opportunity. You are one of the 2026 Aspiring Authors Magazine Poet of the Year nominees. What
Yes.
was when you received that information that you were a nominee? How did you feel?
I was excited, and I'm like, me? I mean, I was like, you want me? I'm a nominee, it feels good to know that somebody is watching you, even though you don't think nobody is. There is always somebody watching you, and to have somebody be, inspiring somebody else with my story, with through my poetry. It's a blessing. It is. It's truly a blessing, and I appreciate this so much because I'm like, I was just stunned. Like, really?
Wow. And that often happens. We think that, we just putting out these things and we're just doing all this stuff and nobody sees us,
Mm-hmm.
but um all the time somebody's watching. And when you least expect it, that's
Yes.
when you are recognized and truly appreciated. Um, God give us these gifts and these talents just for that reason. It is to work
Mm-hmm.
together for our good and to bring Him glory. So, I keep, no matter what I'm going through,
Right.
I keep trying to show up for the gifts and the talents because I know that He said in His word that He would make our name great, not only amongst men, He would make it great amongst Jesus. So I
No.
trust His word. I trust His word, and I say, you know
Yes.
what? I'm going to show up even when I don't feel like showing up
Right.
because He's
Mm-hmm.
put me in a position to be a leader and that somebody is watching. If I don't show up, then that may discourage somebody else for showing up. So
Right.
I'm glad that you are showing up. I'm glad that you are showing
Yes.
up in so many ways. So many
Thank you.
ways. You mentioned that you are a creative director for Tears to Purpose Monologue Ministry.
Yes.
What is that like?
Oh, it's amazing. I get to help out with monologues. I even write the monologues. I help with skits. Most of the time, when we on Sundays at 5:30, we do what we do is called theater and word, and we write. Me and Pastor Lakia write the skits out, and we perform the skits through God's word. Each one is telling. We're not just telling a story. We are telling the truth. We are telling what God wants us to tell us, and it's about life. It's not like, oh, they're just doing this. No, it's through we ministering through either poetry or acting out. What God gives us.
Right. I tell you, that is truly amazing to be able to make those words come to life and be
Yeah.
practical where people can see them. Because oftentimes, we read the word, but then sometimes a
Mhm.
lot of people don't grasp what is being said in the
Right.
in the word. And then every time I read it, it's like I can pull something different out, something more in
Yeah.
depth. Every time I
Hmm.
go in there, it's like He can take you deeper and deeper. So
Yeah.
that is great what y'all are doing, because it gives people a practical sense of the word, and they can see it in motion. They can see it in action, and a
Yeah.
lot of people they can grasp it that way. So definitely, that is amazing what y'all are doing over there. So
Thank you.
as a poet, what has this journey been like? Are you a published author as a poet? Do you
Yes, I
have
am.
books? Tell us
Yes.
about those.
Okay. I have three poetry books that's on Amazon, and I also have like I've written anthologies, maybe ten books already in anthology. But my three books is Emotional Soul of a Poetess. And I got this one here. I don't have that book. I don't know where it's at. But I have this one, Life Through Poetry's Eyes.
Awesome.
Yes. And my third book is Poetry's Truth. Oh, put this up. There we go.
Okay, I like that.
Thank you. And that's me on the cover.
I was going to ask you what made you come up with your different covers. What was your inspiration? But I see that is a picture of you, and then the other one. Do you do all of your own covers?
What I do is pick out pictures and I send it to my publisher, and she does a phenomenal job of redoing it and everything. It was awesome.
Awesome. That is great. That is great. For that person or that young person out there today that maybe never thought about writing, or may have thought about writing but just don't know where to start, what would you say to them today?
I would say write, write your thoughts, and then once you read it, and then go back over it, put it together. But start praying, get with God, and He will help you write out those words. No matter how you feeling, write it down. That's a start because your life is your story. Who better to tell your story than you?
And that's
When you've done all you can, and it seems like it's never enough.
and I thank all of the poets that have given me the opportunity to share them in their talent, because I know sometimes it's not easy coming on these podcasts and going before people. So I want to give them an extra shout out on today for coming and sharing their gifts with us. We're going to give them a round of applause. Y'all, this guest today is kind of special. She's one of our hosts over here on the Crew Podcast. She has written for the magazine, and she has truly taken a gift that she didn't think she had and allowed it to put her in a space where she can begin to heal, and not just herself, but others that may be experiencing some of the same things that she has dealt with and what she's dealing with. So I'm extra excited for her today as she come and she get to share with you guys a little bit about herself and why she started writing poetry. I'm gonna bring her on up. That is none other than Shanette Johnson. She's in the building, y'all. So let me bring her on up, bring her on up so she can share with us on today. Welcome, Shanette. How are you? You on mute?
Oh, I'm always on mute, huh?
You was on
What?
mute?
Yep, I'm all. It seems like I'm always on mute. Sure. I just want to say, thank you for having me on today. It's always a pleasure to be interviewed by the Queen and to sit amongst great poets. It's always an honor and a privilege. Thank you for allowing me to share.
So, who is Shanette?
Shanette, let me tell you. I am a mother of four. I am a wife. I am a grandmother of four amazing little men. I don't have no well, I'm gonna take that back. I do have granddaughters, but I haven't met them. They are my bonus grandchildren. So I have five bonus grandchildren and seven additional bonus children. Um, I'm a commercial driver. I'm a podcast host. Let's I talk about wrongful convictions and other things that's dear to my heart. That's basically who I am. I'm just a simple person.
So, what made you get into poetry? Of all
Wow.
the things that you could have done, what made you get into poetry?
You know, I hear a lot of authors saying, or poets said they started journaling at a young age. Well, that wasn't my case. Um, Mine started in November 10th, 2023, when I found my son unresponsive. And that threw me for a loop. I didn't have nobody that really, I did have people that I can turn to and talk to, but after a while, I thought that I was becoming a burden because every time that we would talk, I'd be trying to get out some of my feelings of how I'm feeling that day, and I took it that people didn't want to hear me, like they was trying to quiet my voice and tell me, hey, it's time for you to move on. And that's exactly how I felt. And then one day I was having a real bad day, and I was sitting in my car and I was talking to Angela, and she, well, I'm not gonna say she because I'm talking to Angela right now. And you encouraged me to write after you allowed me that time to speak of what I was doing, how I was feeling that day. You encouraged me to write it down. And I'm like, well, I'm not no writer. And I just began to put my feelings down on a paper. I began to write my son. And I sent it to you. And I remember you texted me back, asking me, can you use it in your that was in the first book, the first anthology that I wrote in with you was what was it? Immortality, Seeds of Immortality, I believe
Yeah,
it
see,
was.
immortality. Yeah.
That was the first book. And I believe I have 3 poems in that one. And since then, that's how I cope. When I'm having when I'm going through a trigger with something that triggers me, when I a smell or something, then I have to write it down to get it out. If not, I will stay in that place and I will go through my day like a zombie. So that's how I got started writing poetry. My poetry is healing for me and releasing some of the pain that I'm feeling inside due to my son transitioning.
So, after writing in that particular book, have you done anything else since then?
Yes, I wrote in that series, the footprints, in the sand of time. Um, I forgot the last name of the book, but I have written more, and I see that my skill is developing more. And then also last year, I took a great big leap of faith, and you encouraged me with that to write my own book. So I did write. I released my first book entitled "Emerging from the Shadow of Grief" after the loss of my son. So I released that, and now I am working on my second book, and that one is more like um I don't want to give a lot of it away. It's like I'm stuck on that day. And first I thought I was emerging from behind the grief, but actually it seems like I'm still stuck there at that time because I can remember everything the day before and everything the day of. So, it's like I'm just stuck. I'm just standing in that doorway still. Even though I can go through my daily day life, I'm still stuck right there at that place. So I'm working on that book, and I just finished a series, another series with Angela, and it's getting ready to be released. So I'm waiting on that.
So, you can say that poetry has helped you to process and understand your own experiences and emotions. So, with that being said, how how do you utilize your poetry to be able to do the same for others that may be going through similar things like you? How do you use poetry to get people to understand their experiences and their emotions?
Well, basically, I feel that when I'm on going through social media, I see that some of the parents are feeling that are dealing with the same issues that I'm dealing with, and so I write so we can connect, so they know, hey, I'm out here too, and if we need to swim ashore together, let's do this together, but you're not alone. I have the same thoughts that you dealing with. The whys, the did you think of me, did you want to leave me, it's just so much. Can I move on, can I go on without him? And I still, we all have them questions as parents that lost a child, especially like with the mothers. We carry them, so we know that the feeling, the carry, how to carry life, the what it felt like to carry them on the inside of us, to nurture them. We was their first we gave them their first kiss, their first bath, their first hug. They heard their first I love you, their first, we held them first. And then to have to give them their last kiss, their last tuck in, to tuck them in for the last time, and then to have to close the lid, it hurt. That's a hurtful feeling. So I can I write to them and to others to let them know that this journey that I'm going through is not an easy one. That we still are adapting, we still learning how to live without the presence of a child. And that's basically how I use my poetry. And then it's what I can't say or try to explain to people, I can write it where you can understand, like, okay, Shanette, this is okay, now we get you. I write it when my daughters now read my poems. They was like, wow, mama, we didn't know that you was dealing with that you was hurting like that on the inside. Yes, this is how, I can't explain it to you, but I'm gonna write it for you to understand it.
And that's what I've been sharing with all of the poets that I've been talking to, because that was me. I can say I didn't find poetry. Poetry found me because I was going through some stuff, and I had a therapist to suggest that I just write. And I had been writing, just writing words and just writing, didn't know until I met this lady, and she asked me to do a poem about Proverbs 31, and I titled it the Victorious Virtuous Woman. And she loved that poem, and it seemed like it lit a fire under me. But not knowing all the time, since I had been in therapy since 2014, that I had been writing poetry, that the things that I had in my journals were, poetry, in some way or another. So in writing your poetry, what has been the response from those that purchase your book or hear your poems? What have they said about your poems?
Well, my mother and my sister them, you know, before they get to the second line or third line, they crying. And it's just like, wow, Shanette, you did this. Yes, I did this. This is what I want to share with the world. This is what I want to share with my family. How I'm processing this, because truly I had isolated myself away from my family. And with me, family is everything. It was just like once November 10th happened, that was it. That was it. I went through the process. I laid my son to rest. Once I laid my son to rest, Shanette was on her own little island. I just, I communicate with him, but not like I normally do, but just to hear their feedback, and they're like, okay, good job, and even when I showed my grandson the first book and I showed him the poems and stuff, and they just smiled. I mean, my oldest grandson, he just smiled like, Granny, you did this? You actually did this? And I was like, yeah, I did it. I didn't know I could do it, but hey, I did it. It was just, it's a good feeling when I actually get positive feedback from especially people that's close to me.
Right. And it also gives you an opportunity to leave a legacy for your family. People
Yes.
will be able to relate to, Shanette's life and the life that Shanette lived, how she lived it. That has been that has been my ambition. That is my goal, is to leave a blueprint. My legacy
Right.
stops with me. And I don't have children. I don't have grandchildren. I have nieces and nephews, and I have those that I have nurtured. I've had stepkids that still reach out to me every now and then. But I want people to truly understand the Angela that walked this earth. Who she was, what she stood for, what her values were, what her morals were, and how she moved. So every opportunity I get, I'm trying to express that through some form of, whether it's a podcast or a book. You know, I get amazed when I look back and see the work that we have done. Like poetry, when I tell you it found me, and it has a hold on me right now. It's just like every every year I gotta produce a series. It's like I gotta produce a series, and then I throw a book in here, throw a book in there. In between devotions and poetry, just
Uh-huh.
being able to express God's word. That's
Right.
what it is for me. And one thing I want to ask you is, for that person, because you said that you didn't know how to write, you didn't never thought about writing. For that person that's out there that are having those same thoughts, that think that, oh, I'm not a writer, I'm not an author, I'm not a poet, I can't do that, I'm not worthy of that, that those thoughts are going through their heads, what would you say to them today?
Try. Try. Pick up the pen and listen to your thoughts. Let God give you the words. He will give you the words to put down there. Let that paper be your canvas. Let that pen tell your story.
So do
You
you have
know,
a favorite spot where you write? Do you have a routine or ritual, something that you do to um, spark your creative side? Is it anything, or you just, when the urge hits you, you just write?
Yeah, when when I'm sitting in my car, like when I'm driving, that's when I get a when I'm doing my talking, when I have my a long time with God and I'm just talking, and that's when it comes to me like, oh, like I was wondering one day, like, what is heaven, what do heaven look like? And so I written a poem to my son, asking him, can you tell me what do heaven look like? Are the streets paved with gold? Or what have you seen our heavenly father? What is he like? you know and I just had, I write like that, when it just comes to me, especially when I'm driving. Just morning, something it came to me. I need you to write this, and I'm going to do it. I was going to have it prepared today, for us to meet, but I got sidetracked. I started doing it, doing other things. But yeah, mainly when I'm driving, when I'm in my car, that's when I get that's the creep. My mind be all over the place. I can think about three or four things to write, but I stick with one subject.
So, um, have you performed any of your poetry? I know you have published, but have you performed any of your um poetry?
No, I have not, because the poetry that I have written, I will probably start crying um through it, because these are deep feelings from inside that I'm discuss that I'm talking about, like my good night one, is like telling, when I said my um final good night to my son, when I had to close the lid down and say good, and when I closed the lid down, I just bent down and I whispered, I love you and good night. And yeah, it that's why I won't perform them. Sometimes when I write, I don't read back over them, but because of the emotion that's still there, that I'm still in the healing process, even though it's 2 years and 4 months, and it still hurts like it was yesterday. And so basically that's why I haven't performed them,
But do
or
you know
written.
that there are a lot of authors and poets that they write and they publish books and they never read their own books? Black Diamond
Mm-mm.
is one. I am one. Hezekiah is one. Once I release it, I release it. I release it because it has to get out of me, and hopefully
Right.
it will get to the people that it's supposed to get to. But I'm one too. I don't like to read what I wrote, because most of the time it's releasing something that needs to be released. It's either something that I had to deal with and God dealt with me in my life, or something I went through and I don't want to keep holding on to it. I want to let it go. So
Right.
I do that. I know Black Diamond do it. I've heard her say that she don't read her books. She's in some cases she don't even remember what's in there. And it's hard for me to go back and read books because I got I looked at Amazon yesterday and it say 174 literary works.
Wow.
That's magazines, journals, devotionals, alone books, because there have been some devotionals and some self help and some different things that I have just done out of obedience to God. He deal with
Right.
me with words and breaking down words. So it's a lot, and I've been through a lot. So there's a lot that need to be released so that I can move on, so that he can elevate me,
Mhm.
so that
Mhm.
next person that's supposed to come and occupy this space can take this space and do what they're supposed to do. So every day I'm trying to release something. I want
Right.
something to be released so that I can get whatever it is that he's trying to fill me up with, so that I can move on. Um, I want you to share with the listeners how they can get your book, how they can follow you, and then again, I want you to share any things that you have coming up that they can support you on.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you again, Angela, for the opportunity to come on here and share a little about me and how I got my journey um, started by writing poetry. And I want to thank you for encouraging me to step out of my box, because I never would have did it. I would have stayed in that box up until now. Um, I am on all the social media platforms. You can just go to Linktree and put in Shanette's voice, and it will come up my Facebook pages, Instagram, X, TikTok. I also have a website. Talk is Let's Talk About It with Shanette and Cornell. Um, what else? You can email me at let's talk about it 22 at outlook.com, or you can just Google me, Jeanette Johnson. Everything will come up. I'm there.
I tell you, Google had you looking like a celebrity over there. I
Yeah.
say, wow, wow, wow. Google had you looking like a celebrity. I said, I didn't even realize all this stuff about me. Some of the stuff I couldn't even remember. But I tell you, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for each and every one of you guys. Y'all make sure that sometime today, y'all go over there and check us out on the Times Square billboard. Hopefully, you can find that link. It's going to be floating around, so you can go and check us out every hour on the hour, every 6 minutes on the hour.
Uh
We will
oh.
be popping up for at least 15 seconds. So every 6 minutes on the hour, y'all can check us out throughout today. This 24 hours. So y'all go check us out. Check out our book. Amazing 26 poets, including myself. We are pouring from our heart and soul, allowing our gift that God has given us to speak for us through this poetry collaboration called Poets Unites Anthology. And there was no particular topic. Individuals got to share from their heart and soul that they were passionate about. I tell you, it was amazing putting that book together and being able to connect with those amazing authors. I know y'all will be blessed, so I want y'all to go ahead and grab y'all a copy. Grab y'all a copy. It is available on Amazon. Help us reach number one best-selling Amazon authors. That would I definitely resonate to all 26 of us that is pouring from our heart and soul. Again, Shanette, thank you for allowing your words to speak, and thank you for being a beacon of light to that person that may think that they can't do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. That's what I say. If I can do it, anybody can
Yep.
do it. So definitely thank you for stopping by and
You're
sharing.
welcome.
And yeah, I will see y'all on the billboard. I'm going to be watching out for the billboard every 6 minutes on the hour. So you got until 11:06 p.m. tonight to check it out. So please go over there and check it out. You can see it live. I suggest you go 5 minutes early, so at 11:01, 12:01, 1:01, whatever time you seeing this, I want you to go and check it out. Arrive a few minutes early so you don't miss it. It's only gonna pop up. It's gonna be there for 15 seconds, and then we go on to the next hour. So go over and support these amazing poets. Again, Shanette, thank you.
You're
I like to
welcome.
give flowers while we can give them. So y'all give her a round of applauses because she definitely deserves them. You enjoy the rest of your day. Again, thank you for stopping by and sharing with me on today. And we celebrate you as a poet. Keep
Thank
putting
you.
it in the paper. Well, y'all. I thank Shanette for coming by. I thank you guys for stopping by and sharing with me on today and allowing us to be able to share our gifts and talents. I tell you, it has truly been a blessing to be able to share these poets that have allowed me to share their journeys as a poet. Of course, y'all know all y'all got to do is Google them. And if you've missed how to contact any of them, all you got to do is reach out to me, and I will definitely put you in contact with them. Again, I thank you guys because of you and your support for the things that we do. We're able to keep going. We're able to push. We're able to continue this because we know y'all want more, and we're here to give it to you. So y'all have a blessed rest of y'all day. Go over, support us. We will the last little 15-second shot is gonna be at 11:06 tonight. So go over there before 11:06 and see us in New York Times Square. Did I think we would be there? Never in a million years. I thought I would be on a billboard in New York Times Square. But yes, we made it. Mama, we made it. Y'all have a good one. Love y'all.
When you've done all you can, and it seems like it's never enough. And what do you say when your friends turn away and you're all alone, all alone? Tell me, what do you give when you're giving your all and seems like you can't make it through? Well, you just stand, but when there's nothing left to do, you just stand, watch the Lord see you through.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Well. Hello, and welcome. I tell you, I have another amazing poet in the building today. We have another amazing poet. I tell you, I'm excited over here at Aspiring Authors Magazine, and I thank the Crew Podcast for allowing me to use their facilities and hosting these amazing poets. Y'all, I tell you, to be able to use your words to comfort, to inspire, to uplift others and yourself is totally amazing. It definitely is a gift from God. And I thank all of the poets that have given me the opportunity to share them in their talent because I know sometimes it's not easy coming on these podcasts and going before people. So I want to give them an extra shout out on today for coming and sharing their gifts with us. We're going to give them a round of applause. Y'all, this guest today is kind of special. She's one of our hosts over here on the Crew Podcast. She has written for the magazine, and she has truly, truly taken a gift that she didn't think she had and allowed it to put her in a space where she can begin to heal, and not just herself, but others that may be experiencing some of the same things that she has dealt with and what she's dealing with. So I'm extra, extra, extra excited for her today as she come and she get to share with you guys a little bit about herself and why she started writing poetry. I'm gonna bring her on up. That is none other than Shanette Johnson. She's in the building, y'all. So let me bring her on up, bring her on up, bring her on up so she can share with us on today. Welcome, Shanette. How are you? You on mute?
Well, I'm always on mute, huh?
You was on
What?
mute?
Yep, it seems like I'm always on mute. Shoot. I just want to say thank you for having me on today. It's always a pleasure to be interviewed by the Queen and to sit amongst great poets. It's always an honor and a privilege. Thank you for allowing me to share.
So, who is Shanette?
Shanette, let me tell you. I am a mother of 4. I am a wife. I am a grandmother of 4 amazing little men. I don't have no well, I'm gonna take that back. I do have granddaughters, but I haven't met them. They are my bonus grandchildren. So I have 5 bonus grandchildren and 7 additional bonus children. I'm a commercial driver. I'm a podcast host. I talk about wrongful convictions and other things that's dear to my heart. That's basically who I am. I'm just a simple person.
So, what made you get into poetry? Of all
Wow.
the things that you could have done, what made you get into poetry?
You know, I hear a lot of authors saying, or poets said they started journaling at a young age. Well, that wasn't my case. Um, Mine started in November 10th, 2023, when I found my son unresponsive. And that threw me for a loop. I didn't have nobody that really, I did have people that I can turn to and talk to, but after a while, I thought that I was becoming a burden because every time that we would talk, I'd be trying to get out some of my feelings of how I'm feeling that day, and I took it that people didn't want to hear me, like they was trying to quiet my voice and tell me, hey, it's time for you to move on. And that's exactly how I felt. And then one day I was having a real bad day, and I was sitting in my car and I was talking to Angela, and she, well, I'm not gonna say she because I'm talking to Angela right now. And you encouraged me to write after you allowed me that time to speak of what I was doing, how I was feeling that day. You encouraged me to write it down. And I'm like, well, I'm not no writer. And I just began to put my feelings down on a paper. I began to write my son. And I sent it to you. And I remember you texted me back, asking me, can you use it in your that was in the first book, the first anthology that I wrote in with you was um what was it? Immortality, Seeds of Immortality, I believe it
Yes, see,
was.
immortality. Yeah.
That was the first book. And I believe I have 3 poems in that one. And since then, that's how I cope. When I'm going through a trigger with something that triggers me, when I a smell or something, then I have to write it down to get it out. If not, I will stay in that place and I will go through my day like a zombie. So that's how I got started writing poetry. My poetry is healing for me and releasing some of the pain that I'm feeling inside due to my son transitioning.
So, after writing in that particular book, have you done anything else since then?
Yes, I wrote in that series, the footprints, in the sand of time. Um, I forgot the last name of the book, but I have written more, and I see that my skill is developing more. And then also last year, I took a great big leap of faith, and you encouraged me with that to write my own book. So I did write. I released my first book entitled "Emerging from the Shadow of Grief" after the loss of my son. So I released that, and now I am working on my second book, and that one is more like um I don't want to give a lot of it away. It's like I'm stuck on that day. And first I thought I was emerging from behind the grief, but actually it seems like I'm still stuck there at that time because I can remember everything the day before and everything the day of. So